What we just witnessed a few short days ago is the biggest reason why we need to dismantle the FBI and start it up as a new organization. Every single time we have a mass tragedy just as this one, we see everybody start blaming the things that don't need to be blamed. However, the FBI must be blamed for this. How is it that the FBI knew about this kid last year and did absolutely nothing to stop him? How can the FBI not use its power to stop people from committing a mass casualty, but the FBI can use its power to break into random people's homes who silently protested outside of abortion centers, not to mention when they broke into Trump's home and raided his Mar-a-Lago home for letters between him and foreign leaders, simply because a museum wanted them instead. The Federal Bureau of Investigation knew about the potential this mass shooter had to cause a tragedy, but chose to ignore it. This started last year when the kid posted online that he wanted to shoot up the school that he went to. That threat got him a visit from the FBI, but they only surveyed him for a few days and then didn't care about him after that. This kid went on to have an adjustment counselor at the school and tried to work on himself. That didn't help, of course. The answer to this is more simple than a lot of people are making it. It's not to ban guns. Put simply, all you have to do is put more cops with protection in every single school with the same exact tech that airports have to make sure that people that are going into the school are searched before coming into the school. This in conjunction with making sure only one entrance is used to come in and out, unless there is an emergency, of course, would help tremendously. This is closer to the answer of solving our problem than a lot of people are proposing instead. For instance, taking the protection away from millions of Americans just because of the fact that some people that are not following laws are breaking the laws. Never mind the fact that law-abiding citizens don't break the law, and they instead go through the proper training and background checks necessary to obtain those very firearms. On the other note, even if you were to somehow ban every single gun, there is absolutely no way to prevent mass casualties because there are different ways of causing mass tragedies. Like, for instance, the Boston bomber used an instacooker to kill hundreds of people. If we were to turn our attention to mass stabbings, for instance, in countries that don't allow their people to have guns, like South Africa, they had 10,000 stabbings in 2021 alone. Brazil had 9,000, and if we look at the Philippines, we can see that they have 5,500 people stabbing death per 100,000 people, which is the highest country of every single country. The solution to our problem is not banning the guns. The solution to our problem is having more people with the ability to stop bad people with guns and knives. This, of course, is not the answer that the left is looking for because they do not like you having the right to protect yourself and your family. They want the right to have themselves be big daddy government and be here for you and do this for you and do that for you. No, we do not need more government intervention. We need government to stay out of things. We need the government to allow us, the citizens, to use our Second Amendment right. Putting another law in the book will not stop these people from committing mass tragedies. It'll only allow them to commit worse tragedies because now they're getting these guns on the black market, which are more capable than the ones that are legal in America. With that being said, let's dig in. So digging right in, we have the Georgia school shooting, a timeline of events. So we can look at this according to CNN. We can see that back in July of 2022, the mass shooter, which I'm not going to say his name, was evicted from his home by Barrow County Sheriff's deputy in July of 2022 for failing to pay rent. According to court records, as part of the evacuation, sheriff's records showed that deputies collected 3 firearms, including rifles and a hunting bow, and kept them for safekeeping. The weapons were later released to the owner, documents say. In December of 2022, Gray's parents separated. In a comment on the LinkedIn's post, his parent wrote that she had left her husband, saying, "Finally separated from my abusive husband, almost 14 years." May of 2023, the FBI received several anonymous tips about online threats to commit a shooting at the unidentified location and time. The online threats, including photographs of guns. According to the FBI, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office then interviewed the son, who was 13 at the time, and his father, Colin, who said that guns were in the house, but his son did not have access to them. Colt Gray, the mass shooter denied making these threats online. An investigator wrote, Jackson County officials alerted local schools, but authorities determined that there is no probable cause or arrest to take additional law enforcement action onto local, state, or federal levels. Okay, so how? How is making a threat online which is the same exact thing of making a threat in person not justifiable by law. You can't make a threat online and say that you're going to do something that's going to kill hundreds of people and then just pretend as if you didn't say it and you're not going to be held accountable for your own words. It doesn't even make any sense. But then during COVID, you're going to be banned from just questioning the narrative. It just doesn't make any sense. They'll use this tactic that they have at their disposal only when they actually want to, and they won't say it in other times. In December of 2023, the suspect's father purchased a gun allegedly used in the mass shooting as a holiday present to his son, according to two law enforcement sources with direct knowledge of the investigation, which he should not have. August of 2024, an ID system with the panic button capability was implemented at the high school just 1 week before the school shooting, which saved lives, the teacher said on Thursday. And on September 4th, around 9:45 a.m., on Wednesday, the mass shooters left a classroom at the beginning of the Algebra 1 class, and the student said that the mass shooter returned, the student said, with a gun and was unable to get back into the locked classroom, so he went to the next classroom and opened fire. The Barrow County Sheriff's Office was notified around 10:20 a.m., which is crazy because how did it take so long? How did it take so long for the county's sheriff's office to be notified? And they arrived a short while with two resource officers. A resource officer confronted the shooter, who immediately surrendered to the deputy and was taken into custody. Okay, so this 13-year-old doesn't even know how to use a firearm, has no gun safety at all, and he just ruined his life because he did something stupid. He did something traumatically evil, and this person has irreversibly caused damage to multiple lives, which he doesn't even understand the consequences of his own actions because he's 13 years old. Gray told the investigators, "I did it." He was later booked into Georgia's Department of Juvenile Justice. Now he should go to actual prison, and he now faces 4 counts of felony murder in connection with the shooting, according to charges documents. September 5, on Thursday's Gray's father, 54, was arrested in connection with the school shooting and charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation said that authorities also provided an update saying that all 9 people were wounded on Wednesday's shooting are expected to make a full recovery. Good, thank God. But what I don't understand is how he went into the school with a gun. How is it that in 2024, some schools don't have the capability to actually use the same exact technology as TSA? So how, like, we should have the same exact technology in every single school. We should have the same exact technology that are used in airports in schools. It just does not make any sense whatsoever. I'm just not understanding why they don't have this technology. It should be provided to every single school. I mean, they're going to sit here and try to ban guns. No, what they should do is they should mandate that schools have the same exact technology as TSA to scan people's backpacks. That's what I had at my school. And of course, we can look at a Daily Wire article here, and we can see that the father was arrested, and the people that were killed in this mass shooting was 14-year-old students, Mason and Christian, and the math teachers Richard and Christina. 9 others were injured in the shooting, which was stopped by a school resource officer and who confronted the attacker. Earlier this year, the parents of the teenager who shot 4 kids at the school in Michigan were sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison. The first time in history parents have been convicted over a mass shooting committed by their children. This time, for all of us in the community and a state, we come together to remain vigilant. Students must be supported and encouraged here in this community and across the state to contact a member of their school facility with any or all concerns of all suspicious activities that they may see. In an update to its investigation in the attack, CBI said that there was reports of other students making threats against schools throughout the state and that the police had made arrests in each instance. Okay, so why was there not an arrest in this instance here? Just doesn't make any sense. If you are prosecuting people for making threats online, how is it that this mass shooting did not face the consequences of making a threat online then, and all the other people did? So why are we not going to prevent mass shootings here? That's the solution. Actually, having a strong law and order, having a strong investigative unit that searches and says, like, listen, they're alerted if you make a threat online and you're actually planning to commit a mass shooting, and then they stop you in your tracks and make sure that you don't have the capability of doing such action. Just doesn't make any sense here. The FBI acknowledged on Wednesday that it had received tips last year about the suspected shooter, but did not have probable cause to make an arrest. Okay, how? Because if he made a threat online, then that is a probable cause for him to get arrested. It's just so easy to understand here. And the FBI, of course, they're going to prosecute these parents and the children, but then they're not going to try to prevent it. They're going to wait until something happens. It just doesn't make any sense. And this is a standard at which they're not going to follow through with. So, okay, you're going to prosecute the parents of a mass shooter because they bought a gun. Okay, so are you going to prosecute the parents of a child if they bought them a knife and then the knife is used in a mass shooting situation? Which, yeah, in this situation, it might be a little bit different because obviously just last year he made statements about committing a mass shooting and he lied about the child not have access to the gun. So that is a little bit different of a situation. But if we're going to involve these involuntary manslaughter charges on this dad, are we going to pin the charges on Joe Biden for leaving weapons to foreign agencies that can be used against America, like leaving so many military equipment to the Taliban? Are we going to be holding Joe Biden to the same exact standard? No, we're not, because the rules are for thee and not for me. They're not going to prosecute Joe Biden, but they are going to prosecute this father. So, with that being said, I do agree with prosecuting this father in this instance because obviously he knew, but I also think that we should have this instance throughout the board, not just special cases. If you're going to buy something for your son and they use it for mass shooting, okay, why did you do this? Look into it on a case-by-case basis, but then we should look into this on a case-by-case basis and make sure that we actually prosecute people on a case, like every single time, and then we see the facts of this. And if you're innocent, then you're innocent. But the thing is, all of these people that are committing the mass shootings can be stopped by implementing regulations and implementing restrictions that they have to follow. So like being searched when they go into a school, having officers out front that can protect the children, having the resources necessary to actually protect the people that are the most vulnerable in our society, and that's at schools. So with that being said, like I said, the solution is very, very simple, but people just do not want to admit the solution because they just want to take your freedoms and your rights away and use this as a front to do so. With that being said, thank you all for watching, thank you all for listening, and I hope they have a great rest of your day. Bye.